Hi everyone. Okay, so just to mention again here, there's only a few online, but we've got over 50 people booked in, so they are going to receive this recording. So there might be some questions coming through that aren't with the person online, but they will be listening back on it. So we're moving now into the mystery school. So it's interesting. I just want to talk a little bit about um, because we do have some new people coming in looking at the mystery school. I want to talk very briefly about what that is. And there are specific questions and how different it is to pass mystery schools as well. Um, I think it's important to recognize that, when I started developing transference healing in my late 20s, I started running the energy, but I was psychic before then. And then I got guided by spirit to stop reading and to directly work with people and become this channel for this alchemy to come alive, to help people embody the alchemy for their ascension, their awakening ascension. So that took many years, of about 12 years, with the fundamentals and advanced, and then to start teaching it, writing it down and teaching it. So I think it was around 2000 in between at 2003, actually, about 2000 and 2000 to 2003 was when the diamond period of light came in, and then I consolidated all the advanced level procedures, brought them in, and so fundamental and advanced procedures were pretty much all completed by 2003. And that was when I was traveling and working with groups in 4 different countries, as I say, England, Ireland, Australia, and the US. I was doing a lot of work initially in the US, and then I went into England and Ireland, and then back to keeping up with Australia. So it was in 2003 when I was getting pretty burnt out, really. I was at the point where I just couldn't keep traveling on the level that I was traveling because the groups were getting bigger in the different locations in the different countries. And at that point, there was only me and another lady who was supporting me, and I had a small family. And I was flying, literally flying in and out of the country every 3 months with pre bookings in these different countries, right? So I was getting to the point I knew that there's something more going on. I had to give something up or commit to touring in different countries and not work on the level that I was working on, work more with other teachers that have asked me to teach with them and so forth. But I felt guided by spirit. I had to stop and do the hard work, meaning copyright everything, write it all down, put it in manuals, really just do the hard work and create the structure for people to feel safe to start running this technology and energy, and then supporting them to become empowered through that and their ascension process and so forth. So, but I also channeled the Master Christ template, then the Diamond Period of Light, and it was during that time between 2003 and 2006, in that completion and retemplating my whole life, that Lord Melchizedek came in and told me about the mystery school. So I didn't know. I knew the technology that I was channeling was from my higher self, like other forums of learning that I do interdimensionally with other beings, where I go and learn and I teach. Also, people from this world too, through their life body at that point in time. And I knew I was consolidating past life knowledge from times within higher learning and forums of mystery schools. So that's why I said right at the very beginning, this is the 7th and last time I will be teaching this mystery school. And you could say probably this mystery school was the most dense, meaning in the previous times, I was working with people who were born literally into the mystery school. So they had come through like an from Atlantis, early Egypt. I was part of a soul group that came in with knowledge and wisdom from Atlantis and established a hologram or reality here when humanity was very primordial. that we were still in that evolutionary process. The Hathorians were coming in and the Palladians, and there was lots of work being done with the Earth and the grid to enable that. But we were in a different forum. So if you read the Emerald Tablets, it talks about the savages or whatever. These were humanoid people. These were people that were evolving. So you could say that this mystery school knowledge I had wasn't of this reality. It was coming through from another reality. And because I was living what we would call a mystery school within a soul group of beings, I consolidated that wisdom. So I've never really, and when I've had these mystery school periods of time, it's been during timeframes on Earth where there was soul groups of knowledge, that it was interdimensional and I was incarnated, but I wasn't born in to the halls of Amenti, so to speak. I wasn't going through initiations of coming out of 3D. I was living that consciousness. And part of it I was learning from guides and beings and co-priests and priestesses, I was co-learning and still channeling and being guided, but I was also teaching in that learning. So I was participating, that I was still bringing in that teacher's role. So my seventh and last time meaning, I believe two things, and I've said this in the mystery school, that basically I got in 2020, just before COVID, I told Megan we were going to go online. And that was it, it was time. And then COVID hit. So you could see my intuition was telling me. And during the time of COVID from 2020, 2022, I started to write the book. So for me, I was in a hologram of peace and tranquility while the world was going through chaos. Transference was getting bigger because it was a medium for people to heal through COVID. But also too, I knew I had said just before then, this was the last round of the mystery schools and my last time on location. So I had known, and I only did that last round of mystery schools as a commitment to let people who wanted the opportunity to complete it. And I also knew it would go online and it would be available for as long as people want it, and I knew it would work. But that was a huge faith and trust and a huge investment, a huge sacrifice and everything else that went with that to make that happen, right? But I also said up until 2020, all my life, to all graduates, this is the seventh and last time I will teach this mystery school, meaning, and this last cycle, the graduates that come through, they could see it. So when I did the mystery schools in preparation for people going online, there's some people that are listening in on the Q&A that have just started the mystery school this year online, and how amazing it's been for them. I will talk a little bit about that in a moment. And it did work, and it is working, and it's amazing. I'll explain how that is working. I also knew that that I would never do it in the physical. And that's why the temple has come in, and I'll explain the temple more later. But the graduates that came through and did this mystery school, I was doing it universally. So each mystery school we were recording, I was speaking not only to the masses of the people that have done the mystery school, so because they're already resetting online, I was also talking to the people who would be doing the mystery school online in my lifetime. But I was also talking to the people who will be doing the mystery school line if it's meant to be here after my lifetime in this incarnation. So I was giving the stories, I was pulling the energy in, I was giving the big pictures, I was templating the codes, I was doing everything that I needed to do to make it eternal, just streaming. And I know if I had left the planet in 2 years' time, this mystery school is still going, I know I'd still be connected to it, because I'm connected to it now when I'm not even listening to it and the visions I'm having. So I know that's what I meant when I look back and said, I will never do this again, because I was meant to leave. And what's happened, there's this crystalline pyramid of light in the grid, and it stays there now. So I can access this technology anywhere. When I go interdimensionally now, I can access it in the future and my past. I know other beings are going to be accessing it. If the world evolves beyond, this crystal is going to sit in the middle of the grid. It's going to be a pyramid of light, and light beings are going to go in and they're going to access it, just like light beings go in and access the pyramid of Giza. There's codes and lights and grid technology and Merkaba chambers and everything, right? So I know that other civilizations will evolve and are interconnecting through that pyramid. And that could be your future or past self, or that could be other beings that are coming through this grid point as they're evolving and they connect to that pyramid to access something about this earth because they're in another dimension. I know, that's what I know, right? It's much bigger than people just coming in and sitting in a mystery school with me and what it does for them. It's eternal. It's going to stay here, whether it's still online in 5 years' time or 50 years' time, or it's rewritten up in books and teachings. And I hate rewritten because there's always a monkey syndrome, but it stays alive. I know it stays alive in the grid and the pyramid of light. So and the ones that did come through, they could feel it. They knew they could feel me changing. And I tried really hard because I've been holding back a flow of energy that's been filtering through me as I write the book, has been filtering through all the teachings that you're learning, has been filtering through all the mystery schools. But now I can't hold that flow of energy, and that's the Holy Spirit, the temple of the Holy Spirit. I can't commit to it as a vessel until I finish my contract with completing. So this last 3 or 4 years it's been hard work for me because, one, I've loved the community of people that have come through on location. We've had the most amazing time. It's helped me grid in and complete the gridding for the Holy Temple in myself, in my Merkaba, my light body, in certain grids and locations in the world. It's helped me consolidate the final bit of information and knowledge I needed to consolidate to move forward. That will be expressed in my channelings, writings, teachings, the book, and the temple. And it's enabled me to fulfill my contract. So I believe the last people I had on location were the last people I was meant to have on location after a stream of teaching. So you can imagine, for me, how tired I became because I hung in there to complete my destiny, to help my growth, but to complete it and keep it here online for the time to come in that we had the technology and the resources to make it available the way we have. Because seriously, so much has happened even with technology in the last 5 years to help us complete this, but also too, for me to fulfill my contract with this soul group. I believe everybody that does transverse healing and the mystery school, because really fundamental advanced to teachers and the mystery school is just one big, I've been saying for the last 5 or 6 years, the mystery school was actually supposed to be one big mystery school, but people couldn't have coped. You would have been away half the year. You would never have coped. Right, but what's happened online, we've had quite a few now with this cycle that are going through and doing all 5 in the 1 year for the first time. Or 14, 16 months. Because what's happening is we're growing in consciousness, and you definitely go into a hologram, there's no doubt about it, because I've seen it and I've spoken experiences that I've been having with the being online. But the thing is now, because we're awakening more, but there's something that happens online where you don't have all the astral around you, you're not distracted as much as long as you're committed. You're much more pushed in that empowerment because you're actually doing absentees on people from day dot. Gridding and healing sessions. So you're not limiting yourself and your perception about, I can't do this, when they're doing it. But it's also, you're in a position where I'm still supporting you through my light body, but you can retain it, or you can somehow it filters through you in a different way. So it's pushing them. I mean, there's no doubt about it. As the ones that have come through and did 1 and 2 straight after, or the ones that are now coming through and we're doing 1, 2, and 3. which we're starting in 2 weeks. And then I know there's a portion of them that's actually booked in for 5, right? But their higher self is preparing them, and they're pushing themselves, but they're doing it the way it was meant. It was always going to be. That's what I'm trying to say. When I was on location, it was a different world, different group of people coming in for their upgrades, and we had to be in the grids, and we were touching the grid, and I was consolidating wisdom and still working. Then the people that are coming in would have been there somewhere. I mean, you guys are coming in and being there somewhere with the bit ones online that have already done it. But it will never happen in the physical ever again. This is the end of a cycle for me. And that's what I'll explain in the temple and answer some of these questions. Everything that I'm doing around the temple is very different, and I couldn't do the temple without have completing my destiny with the mystery schools over incarnations. Incarnations, guys. From this incarnation, 6 of them, 7th, this is 7th, but interdimensional forums, what I call mystery school transmission. And the funniest thing is, a lot of these forums I go into, whether it's Syrian or wherever I go, this is not the temple. I'm talking forums of teaching and learning, and like a mystery school. They're like a mystery school. Honestly, what I do, I might be in the pyramid in my Merkaba for 15 minutes. I go through to a forum, I go through the Akashic codes. I've got so many light beings with me, some of the mystery school graduates, some interdimensional mystery school graduates that I've been connected to, from Nefertiti to this one. I'm going into a forum about 200 light beings around me, and we're walking in and we're exchanging with other dimensions, and your light's getting codes, and I'm learning and growing and teaching. That's like in a time frame, 7 mystery schools, like that. So can you see the quickening of them going online is pushing people in a way to adjust? And I know people that have been through the mystery school are just resetting now, or people that are resetting now, I know they're going to come back and reset, because they're going to go through so much growth, because there's layers and layers and layers and layers of technology running, and energy and grid changes and everything, right? So to me, that going through 5 mystery schools is like me going interdimensionally for 5 minutes. Is that not preparing people to quicken this quickening of ascension in themselves? And what I got I think I brought out in the Academy, that channeling when I was in Bali, they specifically said to me, you got to keep saying this, time does not exist anymore. And they also said that they told me that the visions you've been having around black holes and interdimensional portals, they're going to utilize the information through physics around the event horizon, which is the outer perimeter or the hologram of a black hole. And once they crack into that, they're going to start saying time does not exist. And they've just started saying it. They say, Alexis, your perception on time is going to become one of the most biggest steps in human evolution around that we are more to interdimensionality, because they're going to realize these are portholes, because and they're saying holograms exist and time does not. Now the next big thing is time. So, as we awaken and grow, our limitation on learning and our perception of change, everything that you've learned up to now and how you grow will assimilate that much quicker when you put yourself in the right environment to do it. So that's the Diamond Period Mile Eye and the Mystery School. So that's how and why it was created, how it exists, how it will continue to exist, how it's interdimensional and connecting through to other dimensions and other mystery schools and other soul groups, and which you're part of. Your soul group is part of it. I mean, Lord Melchizedek and the High Council look down now, and when they see the grinning happening all over in the world, they're opening up places in the world with different graduates to get the gritting in that particular place of the world. And they showed me how it's light bulbs of geometry, and say, see what's happening in the grid, because you taught them properly, and they're growing and learning. but that grid is connected to another grid, connected to another grid from another dimension, connected to another grid interdimensionally. And then they showed me how all of these grids from that gridding in the mystery school practices are connecting interdimensionally to grids and portals, that we've got points in space that interconnect to that don't exist now, that are the past or the future. And I saw this really big picture, and this is what I see now. This is my temple, this is what I see. And it's, it's not for every mystery school's existed when there's only a portion of the mystery school and the rest of humanity weren't ready, and it did its part. But then that information becomes relevant further on in that civilization when they're ready to hear it. And now here I am, after I've finished all this mystery schools for how long? I'm writing a book that I could never have written. I'm translating a sacred text and a book that's used all over the world between Judaism and Christianity, and the basis of most esoteric belief systems, Gnosticism and everything all over the world. I can't translate that unless I got to this point in my evolution. And that's my what I'm leaving behind. Well, this has always been here for the people who were ready, and now the world needs to be ready to know this. Just through the written word. And still no attachment, right? Because that's all the magic happening behind it. But I do feel something will happen with transference healing now, because the world, I said, will never go back. So I've worked really hard back in the day to hold this energy in amongst so much density, right? And then work with people who are awakening, which has been really, really amazing, and build a diamond period of light, not just physically and practically, which is a very difficult thing to do with a 7-dimensional business and a 3 to 5-dimensional world transition. But then also to know that really what's behind all of this is this incredible technology, that crystalline, because I did it, which is that diamond pyramid. I could not have created that diamond pyramid of crystalline technology if I hadn't have grounded all of this and fulfilled my contract. That was what I was meant to do, is this doorway now. So what I found in the mystery school online is, I knew it would work, but I'd never listened back on myself before. And I did have a lady once say, that worked with a lot of big teachers in the world, really big names. She said, Alexis, I don't know about this mystery school, like people say, I don't have to go online with training, the energy is going to translate. Well, I knew it would, because I know my voice works through electromagnetic sound waves, and all technology works on electromagnetic. I actually use technology as a medium to actually create an electromagnetic stream for me to stream my energy and consciousness through. That's a Palladian thing, right? So I knew I'd be more powerful but I knew that it wasn't time, until it was time. But in this particular case, we weren't even streaming it online. We were actually pre-video recording, pre-doing everything for it to go on live, and there was 2 things. She said to me, Alexis, no teacher in the world's been able to videography and pre-record a teaching, specifically a big teaching, and it translate. And I said, well, I'm not too worried about that, because I knew it would work, because I know how electromagnetic energy flows through the grid, and all technology is a stream of electromagnetic flow. I know that, right? So, and the other thing, so when we did go online, the other thing that I had never done was actually feel what I knew. I actually knew it, but I didn't feel it, and until it started. And then the other thing that happened is I'd never listened back on myself ever in my whole life. I've always been transmitting, but not actually audio listening back. I know what I know, and I know what I say when I'm saying it, but I don't listen to myself. Audio. So I committed to participating Mystery School 1 by getting up, and within that you have the recording for 24 hours. Megan will explain it really briefly in a moment. And then it's because they've got to be active. So we've got different timelines. We've only had two in Australia, all the rest were from different countries, right? So, and the other thing, we needed to believe we could do it. So it was practical. So we knew it was going to be international, how we were going to do that. Megan figured that out. She picked up time zones. She professionally put it all together. People link on. It's easy to run. For, of course, the first time in every mystery school, whether you're on location or not, there's a ripple when you start to run energy on each other the first day or 2 days. And these people are running energy at different people in the world. Absentee up front, reading up front. But it worked. They said they could not believe how they accessed it. They could not believe how they could connect through to the responsibility of connecting up with others. There's so much empowerment, so much technology. But what was happening for me, I could pretty much predict what I was saying best next. And I said, thank God I said that every single time. And then on top of it, I was in a hologram. I could feel myself in that mystery school on another dimension, and I know they could too. So we were in another world as the world was breaking down around us. And I was living in a sphere with them, like I do when I go interdimensionally. They were so connected in. It got to the place I was actually Merkabaring with them at night. I was picking up on different ones. And what we do with the mystery school for all the new people coming in, right up from one, I do a 20-minute talk with each one of them so I can connect directly consciously with them. So it was the same as being in class. And I got this vibe, I could feel. So when we got into Mystery School 2, which came straight after one, they only had 3 days break, came straight after one, back in the hologram. But something happened with that one. I went into another space because of the temple and other things that's going on. And I didn't listen audio back as much, but what that enabled me to do was see how much I was actually connected in, because I could see what was going on in the class. I could feel them. I could hear the teachings coming through in my mind's eye, and I was connecting to them in spirit. So I was in another hologram, another mystery school, and when I realized we're in a mystery school hologram, was that was like a mystery school hologram in ancient Egypt, but I was in another higher dimension, bringing it through to that time. Now I'm in this dimension, creating holograms, 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 and holograms and worlds. Because when that mystery school hologram's running, it's impacting me hugely. So many mystery school graduates were actually feeling, and they weren't in the class. They were picking up on the teachings of the day because what was happening in their life was that powerful, right? So it was like I'd gone into this and I was creating a parallel reality. In that reality, teaching that while I'm doing all of this light body technology and writing for this reality to birth something, which I'll explain in the temple in the next session, right? So I'm doing this now to birth this here now, which is part of my destiny moving forward as I'm living this parallel realities as the mystery school's running. And then moving the next people through. So that's how the mystery school's flowing. And the practicalities, it's just working perfectly. And that's where it's meant to be. And I will never do it physically again, not like this, ever. And we'll explain that more as we go into the temple work as well. Megan, do you had a couple of questions that I think I want to cover first and then go back
Well,
to...
before I pose these questions to you, I'd like to just share a little bit of the practical process of
Yes, please.
what actually occurs during the mystery school. You know, as we mentioned, I think in the teacher Q&A, the mystery school is transference healing. First and foremost, it is an extension, a deeper understanding, and a real almost extrapolation of what transference healing is. So, in each mystery school, and there are five, okay, you do a few days with alchemy. Okay, so that's, you know, it's more extensive and you get a deeper understanding of how you work with the different planes of, you know, our patterning through the transference healing energy and frequency. You also participate and learn gridding procedures. So like your Star of David grid, which you learn in the fundamentals, or the Stargate grid in Beyond Doorways 2, there's, I think, all up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 gridding practices through in the entire mystery school. And from upon completion, sorry, that's mystery schools 1 to 5, by the way, not 8 in mystery school 1, but you meet up with other mystery school graduates either in person or absentee to every month run a gridding practice. So you become a part of a community that's running these really powerful gridding practices every month from then on. Then we also go into deeper teachings, and each mystery school is different. Mystery School 2, we work deeply with the divine feminine. A lot of that Mary Magdalene and elemental energy comes through a lot. In Mystery School 3, it's more of the divine masculine than any of the other mystery schools as well. We work with the ascended masters, the power of the word. So there's deeper
The
teachings. We spend a
angels.
whole day, and then angels and that, so we spend a whole day, on one lineage or teaching, or, and Alexis, we read through material, as well as Alexis offering her channelings and insights from that. So it's a kind of, each has its own kind of energy and template, each of the mystery schools. And I think the shortest runs for 15 days and the longest 21 days. Okay. And you're suspended in that environment. So it's not something you do while you're working in the background. You're keeping schedule with the group. So on the day it starts, everybody in that time zone, like in their own comfortable time zone. You're not getting online like in the trainings. You attend from your time zone. You start at 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning, whatever it is for you, and you work through the material there. Okay. So we have really high quality video footage from the day, and there's questions that are posed in class, and you see the graduates that attended live. You get an imprint of them practicing. We show you what the practices look like, both as I demonstrate, but also you can see the class there. We give you footage of them, so you get that imprint of what it's like to be working there in person. You also participate in partnered practices. So unlike the trainings, the transference healing trainings, when you run the energy on yourself, during mystery schools, you'll have scheduled partners practices, and I pair you up in your time zone. So it's a convenient time for you, and you do an exchange with a divined partner, right? That we divine for you from your region. So you get that really immersive experience in the mystery school. Like it's, it is something that you commit to in yourself. Um, so that you can get the most out of it as possible, but so that you can really experience that hologram that Alexis was just discussing, right? So I thought it might be helpful before we move into the questions for me to actually give you a little bit of a visual imprint of what it looks like to attend a mystery school. I'm going to show you Mystery School 1 because
Can
I
I
think
just
that
say
helps.
one thing before you start with that? I do want to say before Megan goes into that, I also come in and on live and participate with each one as well. So there's certain days where we will book in to have a live session with me. I answer questions and I cover things that I pick up on psychically that I feel that different people need to hear. So we do also commit to me being live during that mystery school on top of that. Okay, Megan, what did you want to talk about there?
Sorry, I was just about to come back to that. Yeah. So those who book into Mystery School 1 each get a one-on-one session with Alexis, a 20-minute session. That's her getting to know you. She'll pull some cards for you, and you get a little bit. It's because she wants to meet. Mystery School is very dear to her heart. This is something, I think the first Mystery School ran in 2006. We've had now, with the new online group that have come through, nearly 200 people that have come through the Mystery School, either just Mystery School 1 or more. And because we don't get to have these in-person experiences anymore, Alexis wanted to touch the energy of everybody that was going to be there. So you get, before Mystery School 1, a personal session with Alexis, essentially, right? And then usually about twice during the mystery school, we'll have a 3-hour live session, right? Which we record if it's difficult for some time zones to, coordinate with. And Alexis will, channel, and then we'll ask some questions. And then you have a 3-hour live completion session as well. So there are live interactions that occur throughout the mystery school. Questions can be answered, right? And Alexis can get to know you in the process too. So with that, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight of what the mystery school looks like for the online experience. So this is Mystery School 1. It's an 18-day mystery school. I'm just going to show you, for instance, our first day of alchemy. You get an imprint of the amount of hours in the day of footage so that you can plan your day accordingly. It's broken up into each of the modules. You know what the modules are about, the length of them, so you can plan your time, especially if you have a partnered practice. So this is a day where partnered practice occurs. So you know what time that partnered practice will occur in your time zone, so you can plan your modules accordingly, okay? The provided materials, I should mention, you get a beautiful package of so many manuals. You get your Mystery School 1 and Mystery School 1, and each is packaged day by day. So you get to open your little gift every day for day 3 or day 5 or whatever it might be. You get to open up that package, and there's materials that you'll receive inside that, and then there's some required tools to come along the way. And then as you move into the modules, I'll just show you this. So you have an overview of each, and then you have the video here, okay, so that you can participate in it. So each of the days are laid out for you. As you can see, as I was mentioning before, we have shamanic work in Mystery School 1. There's Egyptian initiation and wand. We have a Holy Grail day. There's each very, very specific teachings that occur throughout each of the mystery schools, okay? So that's what it kind of looks like to attend the mystery school. I wanted to give you a little bit of an imprint if it was feeling a little bit abstract, I guess, for the process. There's a lot of, there was a lot of really beautiful professional videography that was done, and they've been edited by me and another Transference Healing team member to get it all flowing really smoothly and giving you as much of an imprint as it can. So with that, I'm going to move on to some of the questions that we had. So let's start with Kate's question. How are the mystery schools different to other lineages or schools?
That's an interesting, with the word mystery school, it has been around, and people who have been to other mystery schools do talk to me about it. You'll find with a lot of the mystery schools, they focus on a specific lineage. So it could be pagan, or it could be more Wiccan, or it could be more specifically related, maybe more to the divine feminine and the line of the Gnostics, which is quite interesting, more in line with where I go. I do believe, the Masons and the Knights, they were kind of a mystery school kind of lineage in their own quite way, more ancient aspects of them, not the modern that we have today. There's streams of them, that have been, and then there's more contemporary kind of mystery schools where it's really, a lot of it's kind of a bit more new agey kind of stuff. But it's more specific to that kind of concept. Whereas with what's unique about me to start with is that I'm all about universal. I'm all about, and that's why the translation of the Book of Revelation is saying, well, this is a universal teaching. The Christ consciousness, Christ came through to help birth Christ conscious, to bring all lineages, all religions, all faiths together. They're all aspects of a truth, and bring them into oneness. That happens when you birth Christ consciousness, right? So I feel that for me personally, I know it was part of a bigger picture. It was me to on my journey of mystery schools interdimensionally, and it was part of a bigger picture for me to embody my past and future self, all the mystery school technology and wisdom and knowledge I've evolved throughout my journey to get to the temple, which I'll explain in the temple more, right? And it was part of, by me doing that, leaving an opportunity for humanity over time, which I've explained in the beginning, how the diamond pyramid light is crystalline now. But the other thing is too, is that for me, it was divinely guided and orchestrated. It's so big. It's like even the channelings in amongst the teachings and the channelings, they come through so divinely orchestrated and so interdimensional. So this, and because the channel perspective is very unique, you just won't get that because it's a channel perspective, and it's just not on one concept of thought, like twin flame, one concept, or I believe that we've got a 5-strand system of galactic interdimensional thing, the codes that are coming through that I go into 5 different dimensions that we work with in grids, and we've got so many grid practices that we're channeled. And I say where they're channeled from. This is Atlantean technology. This has come through for this reason. I mean, it's consistent. Hours amongst hours and hours and hours of channeled and pushing people beyond limitations of concepts in all religions, I believe, in all streams that are connected to just one stream. And, I know that it's bigger than me. I know that there's energy and technology and beings and guidance that's moving through me. Then I know it's a much bigger picture. So that's how I see it as being different. I do believe that concept of the complexity and the divinity, the orchestration of oneness coming through all the time. I'm constantly from Mystery School 1. Mystery School 1, I break down so many, or you do, or people attending, limitations and restrictions that have kept them in this box, not a box, but there's so much more for them. People say, I remember one of my staff members way back in the day said, well, we're just about to do something. We're going to drive this box, because this is what you do with some businesses, and box and box and box and box. And she said, well, if we do this here, this was about 10 years ago, and we do this here and we do this. And I looked at her and I picked up the pen and I wrote a big circle around all those boxes. I said, well, I don't see it like that. It's like the categorization of this can't happen without this and this. Well, I thought, well, I wouldn't be where I am today if I was restricted by a thought or a feeling or a concept, because technology is not available. It's actually going to become available. I can see it becoming available. It might be 5 years. And what I'm doing now is making it available. So I'm not going to put a restriction on what I'm saying because it's not right now. So, that's how I see it. It's just like you could say, to get to where you're getting in your Merkaba and life body and the opportunities you have now as the subtle systems come alive and the free will of ascension around that, is this knowledge and these practices is going to consolidate wisdom and tools for you to master what's possible through this subtle system birthing. That's how I see it. And I wouldn't change a thing. And I do reflect back on, can you hear me, everybody? Because I'm frozen. Can you hear me? Yeah, good.
Yes.
I do reflect back, and when I listen, and there's a crescendo effect. You go back from one to the next and back to the next, and I do reflect back on certain books to say, well, this is written here, but just to show it sort of is there in the world. You've got to give you some guiding post. Well, this is why this says this, and this is why this book was written like this. This is a concept from the New Age that's written in this book, and this is a concept here. And that gives you some kind of, perception of, well, let's just not plucking this out of a mind. There's somewhere it's ingrained in certain lineages and certain books and certain writings. But then I utilize, give you that insight and say, well, this is how I see it, bigger than that, or not bigger. This is something that's got so much knowledge behind it all and so much technology and accessibility behind it all. And can you imagine how liberating that is to come out of a restricted perception of something and then see such a bigger picture and have all the tools provided, all the practices I know that's going to lift your vibration, empower you, be part of a bigger picture, a bigger part of your past and future, but part of a bigger system on the planet. All of that's taken into consideration through it. And it wouldn't exist if it wasn't working. you know, that price structure has pretty much been there since 2006. You know, we only put it up $1,000. Look how much the world has changed. The value of it is even more important now than ever has been available before. And people make that realization when they come into the mystery school. Once you finish the advanced, and advanced, you start seeing mystery school technology and the energy. Then we introduce the mystery school because it actually is part of moving. It's part of the mystery school. The teachers are saying, "Well, I commit to that pathway of um, that pathway of ascension and that pathway of moving forward in my solar system. I commit to that." And that's what that's all about. It's a doorway into that process. But like I said, it is from fundamentals. You know, the smaller workshops is aspects of the energy to get at the bigger picture and to be supported. But then when you get to the fundamentals, you pretty much, it is all part of the journey through into the mystery, the full extension of the Diamond Period of Light Mystery School teachings, which is technology and a solidified knowledge that's universal, not man-made, not a thought, a psychology. You know, it's, oh my God, it's just ongoing. And I know I got realizations listening back to my own mystery school, and I know it's consistent. There's layers and layers and layers of it, you know, because every time you keep mastering in the practices and through that journey, the more you hear, the more you see, and the more you experience, because there's so many doorways that open up in technology and realms of spirit that come through. That's so divinely orchestrated. It's just not me. And I know that accessibility to these divine kingdoms that I channel and the meditations and everything in it, all the greeting and everything, I know as your subtle system becomes more solidified and human consciousness evolves, I know this mystery school and those practices and those channelings and those meditations I do are going to give you more direct access to those kingdoms because you're in the right hologram. You're actually in it. Okay, Megan, is there another question?
Okay, yes, we have a few with 10 minutes left. So I'm going to try and move I'll just answer a couple of these more practical ones. So Joy asked, what about the format for Mystery School 5? Will it be recorded live? And if so, if the timing is of late? So Joy attended the final cycle in person, and she would have noticed that we had a videography team for 1, 2, 3, 4, and we didn't for Mystery School 5. We will be doing Mystery School 5 for the first time, right?
And only time.
And only time. We will be doing it live streamed. And yes, Joy, it will be recorded the same way the trainings are. So you'll have access to it upon the day's completion. Okay. And you can watch it in your time zone. And then, like all other mystery schools, it will be taken offline. So not like the trainings where you have access to the recordings for 6 weeks, you will have your day to do Mystery School 5 day 1 or day 2 or day 3, whatever it might be. But the first time we're doing it, we will be live streaming it. Okay.
Which is next year, Megan, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So that's an answer to that question. And then we have quite a few from Simone. I will take one of these questions. So if you're working 3 days a week, can the mystery school be attended still and catch up online? No. So it is intended for you to immerse yourself into. Okay. So you would take those days off. You can by all means work on the days that we aren't in session, but we really recommend for the mystery school you treat it like a retreat, right? For yourself. You take that time out for yourself. You rest when you need to. You give yourself the time to integrate. Obviously, things come up. We understand that. You need to work around it, but particularly for the partnered practices, you will need to be there. Partnered practice is a big part of the mystery school, okay? That energetic exchange, that you have, the insight that you gain from exchanging the alchemy and the greeting practices is very important. So you do have that day, that 24-hour period to listen to the recording recordings on days when there are no partnered practices. So you could wake up in the morning and do it in the evening. But again, our recommendation is that you take that time for yourself during that period. And she's also asked, what is the, or okay, I'll leave these other ones to Alexis. There's a few here, Mum. Will the mystery school be open more now that it is running online? When will the next round of mystery schools be?
Okay. So the next round, what will happen is this round of mystery school finishes 1, 2, 3, 4 this year, and 5 is next year in April, I think it is. Don't quote me. Megan will know more about that than I do. But the way that I've seen it is that this year we've got a training in September, and I'll be doing another training next year as well. And the next cycle will then be starting in 2028. And the way that I see it right now, because you've got to remember everything's growing in transference healing, and I'd like to give people an opportunity to get to the mystery school. Basically, we've only got 2 trainings to the next mystery school. So I probably foresee, I can't say right now, that the next one after that will start again in 2 years. And you got to think that's between 29 and 30, 2031. So that's how I see it at the moment. I want to give people time. And you've got to remember too also, I'm not going to do a mystery school unless the demand's there for the mystery school to happen, because it takes a lot of time out of my time frame. It also takes a lot out of the office. It takes a lot out of the resources to get it all together. And I mean, it is working. We've had incredible numbers coming through. So I need to give people time to get to the mystery school. We need to get information out that it's available now. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but also too that a 2-year cycle at this point is working for us and working for the community around us. So that's how we foresee it at the moment. So the next mystery school will begin another cycle in 2028, but because the intensity of it all, holding that energy and everybody in it, it's been incredibly amazing. We're thinking about giving a little bit of time in between each mystery school, rather than doing 1 and 2 back to back, 3 and 4 back to back later in the year. We are adjusting the time frame just a touch, not a lot, because I want people to be able to step in one after the other if they choose to, and they are choosing to do that. So that's where we're looking at the moment.
The next question is, what is the benefit of attending each of the mystery schools? I assume the goal is self-mastery.
Yeah, it is, because your higher self is already, whatever you do in the mystery school, your higher self already knows that. So it'll tell you. People process so much around it. And I just say to people, you're going to know. When you know, you know. Doesn't matter what I say to you, doesn't matter who says what to you. Your higher self is already connecting in. And once you make that commitment, it's already running. I often find, I will say this, I will share this with this online Q&A. There was one mystery school graduate that not long passed, and the mystery school graduates that have come through to 5 and transformed or transferred into the next level of evolution, they've really been really quite devoted, and it's changed their life. And I pretty much know where they are, and I see them off and on. And they also attend the mystery school, believe it or not, in other dimensions when there's an exchange of energy, because I'm seeing what's going on and all of this as well. But this particular lady that just not long left, she finished all 5 back in the day. She was one of the first cycles. And she knew she wanted to go, but she always kind of struggle around getting there, kind of thing, as we do, the physicalities of getting the money, getting there, getting everything done. And she got to level 3 mystery school. And at level 3 mystery school, there's a big purification goes on before 3, because you're tapping into a whole nother dimension. And because you've had the groundwork basically previously. And I can remember when they get there, she got up to do some kind of some ritual in mystery school 3, and I had a vision of her And they told me she is meant to do this mystery school. She's going to complete all 5. And she did. Right. And I always remember that. I remember times when I've looked at different graduates at different times in different mystery schools and had visions and experiences. So I just believe I can feel people and their fear and struggle and confusion. And all I know is just a process, because if they're going to be there, and I pretty much know when they're going to be there, and that's their free will and divine will playing out with all of that. And you'll be surprised how the resources just come. It just does when it's time.
One more question, very quickly before we sign off. Will gifts be unlocked when attending the mystery school?
It's the key for it, I think. Absolutely, without a doubt. Something happens in the mystery school. I can't even, I've said it even with this group as we moved into it. You don't hear me to say it until you're committed, right? Usually. But you can run as much energy you want to run. You can do as much as you think you could do. You could go to every sacred temple all over the world. Something happens in the mystery school that changes you forever, and it starts at mystery school 1. Fundamental advance is the key into it. And then that's when you're saying, well, okay, I'm going to accelerate that subtle system, that divine ascension process, and you just won't get it, I believe, without a doubt. Because I've seen people being around me for years, or graduates being in the energy for years, and very good at what they do and channeling a lot, but something happens to them in the mystery school. It's beyond. And I just don't feel it's available anywhere else. I have to be honest. Okay.
Okay, that's it, Alexis.
Okay.
If you want to close off.
Okay, thank you. It's been lovely to connect to you and see your beautiful faces, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.